This is the 2020 Chevy 3500 truck that we've got here. We're going to show you how to take the bumper off. If you've got a sensor bar grill guard, or you're putting a front bumper replacement on this thing, in order to get the bumper off, you got to take quite a bit of the truck apart to even get to the bumper bolts to take it off of there. And even the sensor bar grill guards, the center sensors, you cannot get up underneath there unless you got a better arm than I got. I can't get them out of there without taking the bumper off. So we're going to show you how to take the bumper off. You're going to start on the side here. You've got three little screws. You got one right here, one right here, and one right here that actually holds the inner fender well felt, whatever you want to call it, in there on. You got to remove that. It's the little Torx head screws that are 10s. You need to remove those three right there, and that allows you, I'll show you here in a second. Once you've removed those, you need to pull this little fender flare out at the bottom. Okay, it pops out. I've already done this a little bit here, so I can show you that it's got three of them right here that actually come out. And then there's another series of these two right here. The reason we undo those three screws is because this is one of those little clips there. On the back side, this is pushed through. If you try to pull these other two out, lots of times it can break these little ears off. Not every time, but it can. So what I do is I take that little inner fender well loose, and then you get on the back side, you take your fingers and you can press those in like that, and then it'll pull out. Because you need at least two of these out right here to do that. And the reason is because there's another little screw. This little piece has got to come off. This little screw right here, there's a little ear right here. You're going to see that little screw there. It's a 9/32 screw right there that's got to come out. You're going to take that screw out. And once that screw's out, you can take this piece, grab low on that fender right there. But you got to take that fender out and just kind of be careful with it. But this little thing, it just pops out right here. It's only pressed in there. It's got some little catches, but they do break loose on there. Once you got that done, you pull it out, and everything else pulls to the inside. It's got a couple little pegs right there that are in there, but if you start this way and you pull out, they do come out fairly easy on there. Okay, so you need to remove that first. And once you got that, we got the other side off already to help speed this up a little bit. But once you got that off of there, you grab my little Torx head there. I'm not even sure what I did with it, but I'll show you here. The next thing we do, we need to remove this top little piece right here. Okay, we did most of them, but they're kind of pushed down like that. The little eyelets, you'll pull that one up, and once you do that, you can get a regular screwdriver underneath there and remove those. Okay, you need to do that, but before you can actually take that off, this little hood latch has actually got to come off. The same little tin star you use to take these two little screws out right there. And that's how you're going to take your hood latch out. Take that off right there. This is going to come straight up. And just kind of put it to the side for right now. Get it out of the way. Once that's off, now you believe you got four of them on top. They're number 10s. Right there that you can take. You got to take all four of those loose. Maybe we should have done some of these ahead of time, but it's alright. Unfortunately, the only real reason you got to take those plastic side pieces loose is because they got bottom bolts to this grill that you got to get to also, and they put that plastic over the top. It goes, it's one bolt on the bottom on each side to get the bottom of the grill out. It really kind of complicated things a little bit. So once you get them four out at the top, this is the one right here that we had to take the plastic off of. That's the only reason you got to take it off, is to get to that one right there. So you got one on each side that you got to take loose. One thing about it, you're in the parking lot. Nobody's just going to crawl up underneath your truck and steal your bumper off your truck. Quite a process just to get this chrome bumper off the face. There's only one of them on each side. Once we get these out of here, we got to pull the chrome bumper off. The chrome grill out. There's the main bumper bolts right up underneath that edge of that grill. Once you've got that, I start with the top first. Get the top out. And it helps you a little bit. You gotta just snap it through with a peg and loose it right there. Put that on. So just pulling it easy, be careful. If you have another guy, it helps. That way he can be on the other side. You kind of hold on to it while you get that loose on there. And I kind of forgot this one's got a little camera right here. Oh, you can unplug it over here. It's got a little red thing. It slips up. I believe you push it down. Pull that little red latch up and you push it down and it unplugs. Not all these are going to have the camera. But you can see here too, maybe I could have pulled at the bottom there. It's got some little clips. It clips in right there. It's got one that clips in right there. So that's what I'm pulling. When I'm pulling on it, that's what I'm pulling loose, is those little clips out of there. You got to take the grill loose. They're off. Just try to set it real carefully. And right here you can see there's a bumper bolt right here. And then there's a bumper, another one straight down. You're going to have to get an extension to get the other one. There's two main bolts on each side to pull this bumper off. And there's also actually another side brace. We're going to show you in a little bit once the bumper's on the sawhorses over there or the little cart. We can show you exactly where it is. It's because it's kind of hard to see underneath the truck. So we'll show you where that is. Before you pull the chrome bumper off, there's a little harness right here on the passenger side. We've unplugged right there. It just plugs in. It's for your sensors and your fog lights and all that. It's one harness. It's the same thing as I did on that other little one for the camera. You pull that little red clip back, then there's a little black plastic piece right there. You're just going to push it down and it just pulls apart. The other side on the diesels, it's got a little heater element that's on the side of the bumper too that unplugs right there. And this one here, you just push down that little gray spot right there and it pulls out right there. So you got to unplug that before you take the chrome bumper off. These are the two main frame bolts that you took out that we were explaining how you come back down from the top underneath the grill. This is the one that you had to have the extension to. Underneath, when you get up underneath, you got to take these two out on each side too. These are 15 millimeters. These two main frame bolts are 18 millimeter bolts on there. But now on the sensor ones here, this is when we're doing it to get the sensors out for the sensor bar. We took this out. This is the harness or the housing from the front. This is your sensor that you got to get apart. It's up underneath there. If you got a gas truck, you might not have to take this bumper off. You can probably get your hands up in there like we're talking about. I can't get it on the diesels without taking the bumper off. Maybe you can try before this because it is a lot to take the bumper off. But once you got the bumper off, to get this unplugged from the sensor right there, that sensor's plugged in, you just pull that little red clip back right there, and then right underneath behind it there's a little black piece right there you got to push down, and then it just unplugs from the sensor. If the bumper's off like that, you can actually get to it. There's a little hole right here that you can actually go down to, and you can flip the little red clip back, you can push the little thing back, and then you just pull it straight out. When you're taking the housing out, the sensor itself, there is one way it has to go. It's a little bit smaller on the housing right here than it is here. So the end with that plugs in goes to the big side of the housing right there, and the other end goes on the smaller side. So when you put it back in your grill guard sensor bar, you got to put it back that way or it won't go. It won't go on there. You can get a screwdriver again. This little thing went from the front to back. It's got some little ears that clip around the little chrome there. You got to push them in and it slides to the front. So once you get that out of there, then you can bring it over here to your grill guard, and you're going to take that housing and your ears go up and down. Make sure I'm doing it right. It's going to go up and down. That's going to push in, and then your sensor is just going to clip into there, and then you're going to push it back down in there. Okay, and we'll show you how to put there's a little harness that goes on there from the truck to there, an extension harness, and we'll show you how to do that when it's on the truck. Just before you put the bumper back on the truck, make sure you don't forget to put these sensor extension harness things in there. You got to plug them into the, get it the right way here. Plug it in just like you unplugged it from the factory harness there. It's just the extension, or from the sensor itself. It's just an extension, so you need to make sure you put that on there first, and then you're going to put that through the front side of the bumper. Make sure you pull it through, because even though that you get it plugged in, it's still going to be hard to feed it back through that sensor once you got it, the bumper back on the truck. So put both harness extensions in there, and then you can put your chrome bumper back on the truck. Putting the brackets on for your grill guard on your 2020 3/4 1-ton truck. On the other side, you can see we already got the bracket on, so you can kind of see how it goes. Here, you can see how the bracket dips down. It's going to come to the inside like the other side. First thing you're going to do is you got to take your tow hook out. We'll go back on, but you got to take your tow hook out to get the bracket in there. Your bracket is go all the way up against here where your light is, so you will have to notch the plastic up and down right there to get this in. We haven't notched this little ear right there. We didn't notch it off, but it is easier to get the tow hook and bracket back in there if you take it. You just take a box blade is what we use to notch that plastic. Just take a box blade, you can cut that off, and it does make it easier to get the tow hook back in. But to get the bracket in there, and you see right here, it's sliding down on that ear. It's easier if its ear's not on there, but you can get it in without cutting it off. The bracket goes in just like that, okay? It goes on the outside of the frame. The leg is going to be on the outside of the frame, and this is your tow hook holes right here, okay? Everything's going to line up just like that. That's how your bracket's going to go on the truck. First, get your bracket in there. You put that in there. After you've notched your plastic and everything, and the tow hook's actually easier to go back in if you come from underneath out. But again, it's easier to get the tow hook back in if you cut that little plastic off. Taking your tow hook out, these are the tow hook bolts right here. These tow hook bolts, this is inside the frame. Tow hook bolts are like that. You're just going to take the nuts off on each side, pull the bolts out, and that's how your tow hook comes out of there. You do all your notching and all that, and you're going to put that back in there, and you use your factory tow hook bolts as long as you got tow hooks. We ourselves have not seen one yet without tow hooks, so if you do not have tow hooks, Chevy's always in the past had this as a solid piece of plastic, so you'll have to notch out more to get all that in and out. You'll have to notch that little slit and probably even notch out that little square, that way your bracket has room to go in there as of that. Okay, if you want, you just notch a little bit and a little more until you get your bracket in there if you don't want any bigger hole. You have to be. And in the kit, if you don't have tow hooks, in the kit you'll have 1/2 by 1 3/4 bolts that you're going to use to mount instead of these right here on there. Okay, but once you got your bracket in there, you're going to get everything. What we've done, like on this side, we put a level. If your truck's on level concrete, you can put a level right there and get it level, and that's where you tighten it. If you're not perfectly level, if you just lift that bracket all the way up, you're going to be right there. Just lift it all the way up until it stops and you tighten it. You're going to be very, very, very close. You can kind of notice we got an upper bracket on there too already. This is for this side right here. There's a bolt right behind there that you got to get to from the back side underneath there. You loosen that bolt up, and there's a washer. You got to back it up enough where you can see our hole is empty, or a hole is hollow on that one end, so you can actually slip it under the washer. You don't have to take the bolt all the way out, because the bolt's really hard to get back in if you take it all the way out. So you loosen it up, you put it in there, you slip it under that washer, and then you're going to go ahead and get back up underneath there and tighten your bolt back on there. Okay, so go ahead and get all your brackets on there as that is, and tighten all your bolts, and then you can put your grill guard up there and mount your grill guard shoes up with your brackets. Put the sensors in. We showed you how to put the sensors in. We got it in on the sensor bar here. The whole, since you use the factory housing for the sensor there, on the bumper itself, it's got a metal edge naturally where your extensions through. We got these little rubber grommets that you put in there. It's got a little ridge that metal part of the bumper will go in. You just put that around there. And put that in that hole where your factory housing came out of. It just keeps that loop from scratching on the chrome bumper there. Then you can just plug it in. With it, I kind of put this one in backwards. If you turn it 180 degrees and you plug it in from this way, it's going to be better. I put it in already and I had it the other direction. But put that where the plug part is come in this direction, and it'll plug in a lot better. So you just plug your sensors in. So I just pushed that one out. And that's how you put your sensors in. You see the little housing or the lumen. It's better if you got it on this side again. But push the extra in, and you get up underneath, and you get a zip tie or so, and tie it up underneath just so it's not flopping around in the wind or whatever, and it'll stay tight like that. When you got the guard up there, you can see we've already got it up there. We showed you how to put all the brackets on. Once you got all your bolts in there, you can get a jack on under each end. And I always get this center lined up with the rear view mirror, and you can get back and you make sure these loops are the same height, side to side, up and down, to make sure it's level that way. And you can take a tape measure on the side here and measure from the truck to the loop and get it the same. And once you got that the same, you can tighten all your brackets up. You see our upper bracket right here, what we call the upper bracket, went to that tab. Just get bolts onto there. And once everything, I say it's side to side, it's up and down, side to side, you can tighten all your bolts up. And that's your install for your 2023 quarter 1-ton censored grill guard here.